Hopefully everybody had a great evening last night. Little red eye, you know, little bleary, but you'll be all right. So we're going to start today. We have a video from our sponsor, so we're going to kick off with that this morning.
Are you ready to catch the wave in 55 plus home building? At Epcon Franchising, we work to support home builders like you to build homes, neighborhoods, and lifestyle that is extremely popular with the 55 plus demographic. The 55 plus market is overflowing with potential, and by working with over 75 entrepreneurs across more than 25 states, we are helping our franchise builders ride this wave in the residential real estate market. At Epcon, we offer copyrighted designs and a streamlined approach for home builders to manage the land development and home building process for 55 plus communities. As an Epcon franchise builder, you'll receive access to our business blueprint that has made us a top U.S. home builder year after year. You'll work with our experts in land, marketing, sales, and purchasing using our time-tested processes. Many of our largest franchise builders joined us during the global financial crisis. And although they faced obvious challenges along the way, they've stuck with us over the years, and they've consistently grown their businesses along the way. They were able to catch the wave at the right time.
Everybody here is knowledgeable. Epcon has had such a rich history and have a large network of franchisees that add so much value to the brand. Always looking to innovate, always looking to make things better. So that was one of the main reasons we jumped in.
I'd always thought about doing communities, just felt like didn't have the experience or the know-how to get into something that large, and Epcon paved that way.
Upon investigating everything Epcon had to offer, decided it was a perfect complement to the business that we're doing already and a great way to scale up our company as a whole.
There's a system, there's a process, it's tried and true. That's really why we bought into it. Is, of course, we could have come up with something on our own. It would have taken a long time with a lot of mistakes, and we wanted to shorten our learning curve and jump right into where we wanted to be.
Where else can a small boutique builder join a top 60 builder and have access to all the resources that this company has available?
We can't control the economy, we can't control the housing market, but we can make sure that we have the best products and the best processes to succeed in the marketplace.
At Epcon, we give existing home builders the tools to become dominant players in the local markets.
Ready to dive in? Catch us at Break Service, and let's catch the wave in 55 and up home building.
Awesome, very catchy music. But Epcon is a great company. Rob Crone is here in the room with us today. So if you want to connect up with him, he's amazing. All right, so we are marching through our journey this week. So this session, we now are going to talk about experience. So we've talked about attracting, you have to be found in order for anything to happen. And we talked about self-service and how important that is to today's buyer. And then we moved over to personalization and design. Note, we didn't call that option selection. It's not about us, it's about them and their personalization. And so today, we're gonna talk about experience and mostly focusing on once they've contracted and then all the way through ownership and a little bit beyond that as well, and how important that is. Because if we don't focus on that, we don't always keep them, or they don't always have great experiences, and it's really tough for everyone. So to kick us off today with this session, it is called Digital Customer Experience Enhancement from Construction to Ownership, and that's what we're gonna talk about. But I'm gonna kick it off with, everybody loves great sex, right? Like, I mean, who doesn't? Okay, I just wanted you to look up here, because you're all eating, you're like absorbed. Is that like bacon on the plates? Like, I mean, I'm just kind of like, really? You guys have bacon and we don't have bacon? That's not what I meant. I meant customer experience, sex. Come on now. Don't tell John that I was inappropriate. But that's what we're gonna talk about today, is really that customer experience. And it's really, really, really vital. And it's not just vital in our industry, it's vital in every industry. And it is interesting, earlier in my career, I won't tell you when I started in my career, it was a while ago, customer experience was kind of like an afterthought. It was like a necessary evil. It's like, well, somebody's got to answer the phone. You know, we thought about it as like a reactive customer service, you know, kind of necessary evil. Fast forward to today, it's being discussed in boardrooms, CEOs care about it, and it's because it really impacts the bottom line, right? It increases revenue when we have great CX, it increases customer sat, it lowers service costs, so it's actually good for us, and then people are much less likely to switch or abandon. And that's really important to us because we've worked so hard to get them to contract. The last thing we want to do is have them cancel. That is really disastrous for everyone. So it's becoming something that is really, really important in everybody's business today, and certainly in ours as well. So that's why we're going to be talking about this today. And we're doing something a little bit different with our agenda. We're doing a little experiment today with our agenda. Usually we have our panelists each present their piece, and then we do some Q&A, but we kind of broke this down because we thought each panelist should talk about the why and kind of share best practices and case studies of, you know, how this has been successfully done. And then we're gonna go back around with a little speed round so that they can show you their tools that they use or that builders use to achieve those results. So it's a little bit different. We'll see how this goes. You guys can vote at the end as to whether that was useful or not. But thus, we're gonna go pretty clippy through all of this so that we can make sure that we can get to all of it. So let me introduce our panel. So we have Derek here with Foundation and used to be with Open Door.
Correct.
So you may find him very familiar. So he's not new to the industry. And of course, Tim Bailey with Avid Ratings, and he's spoken with us a few times this week. And then Haley from NoviHome, and she's got the amazing NoviHome tennis shoes, if you want to pop those up. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah. You probably saw those all over LinkedIn, and like only the cool kids got those shoes. Notice I don't have any NoviHome shoes. I mean, you know, but but yeah, really cool app that they've got to talk about. And then of course, Monica, who's been my partner in crime, you know, most of this week, really bringing it home in terms of, you know, their tools. So with that said, we are going to turn it over to Derek.
Awesome, thank you. Your stats were great. I really have no notes, so I can probably just pass it along to Tim. But no, you really kicked it off really well. So Derek Schairer with Foundation, and we'll get right into it here. So what I wanted to do today was just talk a little bit about the current state of CX using some anecdotes and data to kind of set the table for not just my slides, but for what you're going to hear a lot about today from, I think, this panel up here. And what that is that universally, buyers really want three main things: communication, transparency, and trust. And you're going to hear about all the data to back that up. Today, what I'm really going to do is provide you with some quotes that I've heard recently in the field and pair that with some real world data to show you just how important and reinforce what Melissa said about the customer experience and what it means to your business and your bottom line. So here's the first quote I've heard. Our customer satisfaction scores have recently started dropping, but we can't figure it out. We haven't changed a thing in years. So there's a couple things there that's telling us, but I think what it's really telling us is that customers are disappointed with the current state of CX and the current process right now in 2024 and expect more than ever before. And I think that's why 99% of buyers would recommend their builder at contract, but only 66% of buyers would recommend their builder at closing. And shout out to Tim at Avid. This is his stat. I got it off a webinar a few weeks ago, and he'll probably talk a little bit more about this. So. But what that kind of begs the question is why don't we give today's buyers what they want? Because I think as you'll see today from this panel, we can. So moving along here to our second slide, or second quote, our salespeople update and call their backlog weekly. At least they're supposed to. Tell me if you've heard that before. So builder teams are overburdened right now, and sales teams are focused on getting contracts, which is revenue in the door. So maybe they should be, right? But what this ends up making happen is, I'm sorry, I can't go back here, is that you can see that 75% of new home buyers said they were unsatisfied with the level of communication from their builder. That's a hard pill to swallow. So what if we gave our teams tools that make them 10 times faster, or better yet, automate it? And again, what you're gonna hear today is that we can. And finally, here's my last quote. We stay in touch with our previous buyers. They love us. They can submit warranty requests online. And I think what this is telling me is that building lifelong relationships between your customers and your brand is hard work. And if we're being honest, it's probably not the top priority of us in this room, but that's okay. And I think that's why we can actually turn our happiest homeowners into an asset to generate referrals, repeat purchases, and lifetime recurring revenue. That's possible today. So what's holding us back? And I think as we sit here today, it's ourselves. We've all heard quotes like this. We don't need to spend money on CX. That's why we have a website and a sales team. Or I've been building homes for 30 years. We don't need technology. What if 2024 is the year that we changed our lens? What if we stopped looking at customer experience as a line item and a cost center? And what if we really started to view CX as an investment? Because getting outside of the fluff and down to brass tacks, like Melissa showed us, CX is actually about ROI. And I want to share a quick case study here to drive this point home. In 2010, Domino's asked themselves the same question. What if we invested in CX? From there, they launched their now infamous, we all know it, Domino's Pizza app. But I think if you zoom out a little bit, they didn't do it for fun or to light money on fire. If you actually read the case study, they did it because based on their research, this product investment would create happier and more loyal customers, make their teams more efficient, and be ROI positive for their business. And based on that research, it turned out to be right. And if you see this slide, it turned out to be like really, really right. So here's a quote a few years ago from Domino's now CEO about the results they saw after launching their then, in 2010, cutting edge Domino's app. What we saw then and continue to see now is consumers prefer digital ordering over any other type. It's got better repeat purchases, higher spending, customer satisfaction is higher, they order new products at a 2-to-1 ratio, and then there's all the data to learn from. That's the Domino's CEO speaking about that product launch. And I think in this chart, as you guys can see, this encapsulates what the financial ROI looked like for them since launching their app. It shows their stock performance against some of the world's best in-class companies over that time period. And I think really what this is showing is this is the power of a better, modern customer experience. So to wrap up my part here a little bit, a great customer experience is good for your business. If that's one thing you take away from this, it's that. And that's why the best in-class companies across industries are investing in great tools and technology for their CX. It positively impacts their bottom line. And so in the second part, I look forward to telling you more about how Foundation has specifically built solutions to put home builders on par with other world-class companies to improve your customer experience. And I'll show you how we create happier buyers, more efficient teams, and take your buyers from a contract and turn them into lifetime customers.
Perfect.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we talked yesterday about pizza providers have found that if you do self-service, you order a lot more because you're not embarrassed. You're not socially embarrassed that you ordered the cookies and all the other little extras. So that was awesome. Thank you.
All right, so I'm Tim Bailey, as Melissa mentioned, from Avid Ratings, and we are a customer experience platform technology company. We sit on a ton of CX data. CX data. That's going to be the theme of the day now, right?
It's so sexy.
It's sexy, right?
Yes.
But the challenge we see is, I don't think it's rocket science here. Home buyer satisfaction drops off after closing. And we've did this graph. This is plotting the customer journey from our database. We did this a couple years ago. And we show them this to literally hundreds of builders across North America, and they all pretty much nod and say, yep, that looks about right. Right? So we from inspiration to discovery through decision making, we do this roller coaster, but consistently we see this flat line after move-in. So any nods in the room, does that seem right? pretty much how it goes, right? And part of it makes sense. Part of it, like the new car smell goes away on the new home. After they're in the house for a year, that tends to happen. But there's also some, I call it abandonment syndrome that goes on with the buyers as well. They don't feel connected to the builder anymore. So each year, the next slide here, which Derek alluded to as well. Each year we do what we call our State of CX study. So we launched the second one, we released the data in February, and this is where this stat came from. So 99% of folks say, I'd recommend my builder when they, at the time of purchase. That drops way down though to 66% after move-in. So it's a pretty big plummet that happens there. And just some stats on that. This is a large sample size. This is based on 297,274 surveys collected over 5 years. Based on 564 builders across North America. So this is some deep data that's pretty indicative of kind of the results of the industry right now. So digging into this sort of State of CX report a little bit more closely, this is the performance of the overall rating of the builder. So a key metric on our surveys, you can see, at sales we're doing pretty good. Hitting a 95 there, but then it just gradually marches down, down, down until we hit a 72.77 when we get to that sort of post-move-in or warranty stage. I made a note here too, so it's actually down from 76.5 last year, so it's dropped almost 4 points in a year in that post-move-in warranty stage. So again, a bit of a concern we want to jump on here, or an opportunity for the right mindset that wants to go after this. Another key metric in customer loyalty or customer advocacy is the would recommend score, right? A lot of you have heard of Net Promoter Score, NPS. So here we're looking at a graph plotting the would recommend score again across our North American database for the past 3 years. And you can see the purple line is the most recent data, and it's tailing off to a 65.68 by year end. In a world of CX research where 9s and 10s, we say move the meter, 90 to 100 is loyalty advocacy. 65.68 points to a dysfunction. It's more than a concern, it's a bit of a dysfunction. Highlighted in that, we've done better in the early stages. You can see the purple line's tracking higher in those early stages. But definitely something we got to jump on as an industry in the post-move-in stage there. 3 key factors that came out of the data. It actually kind of turned into an acronym TECH that I wrote down, like Tech Home. But consumers are looking for timeliness. They want to have, they say impatience today is a virtue instead of patience is a virtue. So they want timeliness. They want ease. They want things to be easy. I want things to be easy. And they want certainty. They don't need perfection, but they definitely want certainty from their experience with their builder. And some of the attributes, and Derek, we're crossing over some of the cool stuff here, some of the data, but they want updates. They want to be real-time updates too, not just like, send me a picture as progress. I want to see it now, right, all the time. They want access, instant access all the time. We're always on now. And they want convenience. They want unparalleled convenience these days. So where's the biggest opportunity to improve right now? I would say our data conclusively points to the post-move-in stage has got some great opportunities or big problems, whichever way you want to look at that. If you look at the overall ranking, overall rating of the builder, which is the navy blue line there, the teal line is the would recommend score. We're sitting at a 72.8 for the overall rating of the builder at the year-end stage there. We're sitting at a 65.7 for would recommend by year-end. So there's some digging out we got to do, and it's just we brought a lot of sales forward in that great economy too, but that means all that stuff's hitting our warranty teams now too over the next couple of years. So there's a bit of a tsunami hitting. So we're gonna again start to do a little show and tell later about some of the different products that are available to digitize some of this area. So I will pass.
Okay, I have to ask this question though. Like, I know I said we're gonna keep it clipping, but I don't follow the rules. So why, any theory as to why that is dipping down? Like, why are we getting worse? Is it that customers are getting more demanding, their expectations are changing, or are we doing something different? Yeah, any thought?
It's both. Customer expectations are higher than ever before because as an industry, we get compared, like even though it's not fact, we get compared to their experience at a Starbucks, their experience at a Ritz-Carlton, their experience here, and they think their builder, their experience with Domino's. So I'm putting down the biggest purchase price of my life, and I can't track it. I can't see the progress, but my $20 2 pizzas for my kids, I can track it in the oven and to my door and everything else. So, we've got, it's just the expectations that are so digital.
Right. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, take it away.
Hi, y'all. My name is Haley, and I am the Director of Sales at NoviHome. For those of you who don't know me, before I joined the team at NoviHome, I was in online sales and marketing for a production builder in Louisiana. I was also a member of our cross-departmental CX committee. So I know firsthand both the struggles and the payoffs of trying to implement CX technology across departments, which is what I want to talk about today. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about why we're not doing it, or why a lot of builders that I see are not doing it. I'm going to share them through the lens of some of our current clients. Obviously, I speak about NoviHome because that's what I have data on. However, the same goes for any technology that you might be thinking about implementing within your business. So first, I'm going to talk about Cavanis and Cates. They build a lot of homes in the North Carolina area, and they use all outside agents to do so. All of the agents are in different age ranges. They work with different brokerages, and they're all communicating with their customers in different ways, which led to two problems for Cavanis and Cates, which was first, a pretty fragmented customer experience throughout the build process. And then second, they had absolutely no way to track whether these updates were getting done, right? Different agents, different places. It was really hard for leadership to hold people accountable. And so Cavanis and Cates, I want to talk about processes and training. So the first thing that they did was in moving forward with a CX technology, they were able to streamline processes within their team. So they had, and by process, I mean like a written process of this is how we do CX. And then using technology, they were able to then track it at the leadership level. We also, a big part of this was training with their team. Again, because of the agents from different brokerages, it was hard to get consistent training when using a new technology. And so we flew out there, trained their entire team, and then actually did 6 months of continued educational training with that team to make sure everybody was on the same page of how to use it. And if you look at their data, they're giant photo senders. Those are real-time photo updates. And what that equates to is their team is sending about 50 updates a day to their buyers, which is huge. I also want to talk about leadership when it comes to CX. So Main Street Homes is a great example. I am obsessed with their leadership team. They take changes organizationally really, really seriously. They use the, what is it called, traction methodology, EOS system. And so they develop quarterly goals within their leadership team, and they assign somebody to kind of spearhead whatever their objective is for that quarter. They have a great leadership team, and their sales team really respects their leadership team. And so they took the implementation of NoviHome super seriously. They're one of our newer clients, actually. So we trained them the 4th quarter, and these are their stats for just year to date. I pulled it a couple weeks ago. And so what we're seeing with them is that they're sending 60 updates daily to their buyers, and their customers are engaging about 94 times a day. And so that is 94 times a day that somebody feels connected to both Main Street Homes as a brand and their home specifically, which is outstanding. That's what we want to see. And then the final thing I want to talk about is ease of use, because the best technology in the world doesn't really matter if your team is not using it. We have a saying at NoviHome when we develop new like dev items. My boss's brother's name is Carson, and he is one of the best salespeople I have ever seen in my life. Like, y'all, he could sell anything, but he's really lazy. And I don't know if you guys have any salespeople like that, but so when we are sitting at the development table deciding as a team what we're gonna develop, the first thing we say is, would Carson use it? And if the answer is no, we scrap it. Because we're trying to get construction guys out there, boots on the ground, covered in mud and blood from day to day, to use this technology. It's hard, change is hard. And so one of the things that we like to do is we wanna make things 1 or 2 clicks for your team. And so photo updates are super, super easy to send. A buyer opens up an app, takes 1 click and sends a photo to a buyer. Visionary Homes is a great client of ours. I talked with their, he's a site manager, his name's Bruce, out in the field. And he told me a great story about the benefits of these real-time updates for your buyers. And because it's so easy for him to use, he takes a photo, click, click, click. He was sending a buyer a photo update of their primary bath. And within seconds, the buyer got a notification. They clicked it, and they saw that the tile was laid the wrong way. buyer immediately messaged the construction manager, and they were able to change the direction of the tile to be what they originally planned for. And so they saved time and money on Visionary's end, but then there is also a tremendous value of your customers knowing that you are listening to them. They have instant access, and so problems can be solved before they even become problems. And that's all I got. I'm gonna pass it over to Mike.
Oh, you have Davidson Homes?
Yeah,
No,
Davidson.
I didn't have time. I'm gonna skip it.
There we go.
Okay. You're so respectful.
you very much.
We have to meet Carson. I'm going to link in with him and go, I heard
It's Carson
crazy.
with a K, actually. K-A-R-S-O-N.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Haley. That was great. And thank you, guys. And Tim, I appreciate all your stats, too, because it's true. Things drop down after warranty. And Melissa, your question was great, too, and it feeds into a bit of my presentation. And today I'm really just going to do a case study. And my focus is really on, it's on CX, but really how do we be preventative about having CX problems at warranty? And that's by having good data that we're sharing with the customers, a happy team where they are very informed, and an integrated solution, right? So we're gonna talk specifically about French Brothers, and I have to give you a little bit of background on them, and I'll go real quick. They're a great company down in New Mexico. Their price is $250 to $500. They're now a second generation builder. If you don't know the French Brothers, they're the greatest guys in the world, and they've actually ran a very good company. And Kevin Jules now has taken over as of September. And I really want to commend the French Brothers because of the fact that they were able to hand over this company that they built for several years and trust that Kevin Jewell, with his new vision of integrating data analytics and technology into the system, that he was going to be okay. Their company was, their baby basically was going to continue to live and thrive. And that is a really hard thing to do as a first generation builder, handing it on. So Kevin has been very successful with that. But one of the first things that he did was hire a data analyst. And they have now become a very aggressive growth builder. They've really focused on cutting their variances. Variances are what cause delays and cause issues for the buyer, which also causes the issues in warranty. So they really have been focused on their variance costs and cutting down their cycle times. Again, those are the delays that customers get upset about. And they really have continued to focus on their customers. So they have integrated a lot of systems. So they use 3 of our products. They also have a CRM. They use Power BI so they can manage from their data, and they've also really integrated a lot of their things into Teams. And so I'll just go through this real quick. As I said, good communication is key. You want to have good communication with your buyers from the minute that they come into your system as a prospect through all the way to warranty. And so we have connected information and data, and French Brothers specifically uses NoviHome to do that. On their website, they communicate with their prospects with site maps that are actually active and connected to their systems. So a lot of times, prospects will go out and they'll play with your site map, and they'll go to reserve a home, but the lot is already taken because the data is not connected to the back end. So LotView actually allows you to have that connected data, so when buyers are out there, they can actually see what is available. Having that interactive experience with the design center and the sales center and being able to do the plans and all of that, that creates a really good customer experience at the front end, as we've talked about before. This slide really gets to the fact that if you have a design center and you have all that available to customers, you want to make sure, again, that what you're selling feeds back into your operating system. And so this shows that the data feeds into the operating system, and it goes to production, to operations, to accounting, and all of that. And so you're not losing information or losing what the buyer selected as you're going through the different departments. This is wonderful. This is our LotView product that French Brother uses in the field. So this is a view that allows the superintendents in the field to see what homes have been sold, what's in production and all of that. But in the bottom part, you can see also there's these little stars that will show up on the lot to show the construction manager what's on schedule, what's over budget, and that kind of thing. So when the construction manager comes in, you can start putting out fires right away instead of starting at the beginning of the community. And so they're addressing the issues as they come up and not letting the buyer sit on issues that they're seeing in their home. They've integrated Teams, and all of their team is on here. So anytime they release a new house, it goes into the Teams chat. for the entire company to be aware of. And when your company is aware of what's going on, they're better able to answer questions. When they know the phase of construction, this is kind of in teams, they've created phases of construction so everybody can see where everybody's house is, so they can answer questions and see if things are delayed. And this, I really like this too. They use teams to congratulate and celebrate their staff, their sales staff and their production team for when they're meeting their goals and their targets and things like that. And they have teams for each of their different divisions and each of their different locations as well, so they can have really good communication there. They also use, this is called our ITK product through Mark Systems, which again continues the data out into the field. So this is the trade contractors know what's coming up and their schedule, and if anything is delayed, they can communicate through their app. Here's their list of jobs, and if anything changes, they get a notification, and it goes all the way through the service orders and warranty. And why am I showing you this again? It's because if you can keep your team informed and keep that communication line open with your trade contractors, it prohibits those delays, and it allows you to service the customers better because everybody knows what's going on. That's the same here with this warranty view. You can see which houses are under warranty, so your warranty managers can go in and understand where things sit right away, and anybody really in the company. So if a customer calls in to their sales team or anybody at the company, they'll be able to look at this and understand where they sit as far as their warranty issues. And I am pretty over, but quick, easy access to key data. No, I won't just click through. This is Power BI. They've integrated it into their teams. And it's really cool because the entire company can see what their goals are and where they are in relation to those goals. And I think that's really important because it keeps everybody marching in the same direction. And you can see all sorts of other things here too. And I think that does it.
Great. All right. You guys did really good. You did really great. Great. And we're doing good on time. So if you want to take like an extra minute for this next piece, you can.
We don't have material.
We're out of material. We have nothing left to say. I don't think this group would ever be out of things to say. So next we're going to move to, so that was kind of case studies and kind of why you would care, about all these tools. And we thought it would be important to talk about that before we show you the tools, because otherwise, why pay attention? So now we're going to go back down the line and just kind of give an overview of the different products, kind of a show and tell. So take it away.
Great, awesome. So again, Derek Schairer with Foundation. And so just to set the table a little bit here, Foundation is the buyer experience platform for home builders. That's how we think about ourselves. So today I'm going to give you a high-level overview of our products. We're pretty meaty because we're a platform, and so happy to dive into more details during the Q&A or afterwards. So grab me if you have any questions. But I think just to kind of set the table and give some context here, our mission is to deliver Silicon Valley grade technology to help home builders sell more homes more profitably to happier customers. Home building and technology are in our DNA. I started in new home sales and marketing in my career, and my co-founder comes straight out of Silicon Valley where he worked for technology companies throughout his career. So it's really a part of what we do. Our product begins as soon as a customer signs a contract and persists into home ownership. So that's why our slogan is from contract to lifetime customer. It makes sense when you think about it. And so here are the different products within our product suite and our platform. Once a buyer signs their contract, they're able to log into what we call their digital closing concierge. And essentially what this is made to do is hold the buyer's hand through closing by providing them education and information at their fingertips, a lot like what Tim was talking about, that instant access. It's a white-labeled mobile-first app that replaces the hundreds of touch points spread across emails, text messages, phone calls by providing buyers with, and bear with me here, updates, photos, documents, contacts, chat, action items, checklists, and a progress tracker in one single source of truth. And the best part is this is your experience, your process, and your brand. We fine-tune the details all the way from construction milestones to your company vernacular. So within the product, do you call it a dusty shoe or do you call it a frame walk? Do you have sales associates or sales consultants? We do this and tune it because these are your customers, not ours. That's really our philosophy. And so the digital closing concierge is provided by what we call our operator tool on the back end. This again is another mobile-first product designed specifically for builder teams, which lets your organization focus on what you all do best, which is building and selling homes. Team members can be 10 times more productive, and it allows them to do things like provide automated updates, or with personalized corporate approved messages being sent to customers in just 2 taps, again, with what Tim was talking about. So it really is true amplification and collaboration across your business. Once a customer closes on their new home, the product automatically transitions into our ownership experience. Same place, same login, same white label product. Here we enrich the experience of owning and operating a new home to drive lifetime customer relationships for that home builder. It has everything a homeowner needs, from documents and manuals to appliances and home specifications to home care and warranty information, again, right at their fingertips. And finally, for all of your closed buyers, they'll also get put into what we call your ownership network. It doesn't matter if they closed yesterday or 5 years ago. We'll take all of them to programmatically analyze, activate, and re-engage these historical sales to drive leads, referrals, and ongoing revenue streams for your business. So I think that's a pretty cool feature and differentiator for what we do. As I mentioned, we have a few product key principles. This was kind of a theme throughout to ensure we always put your brand first and drive ROI from day one. And I think the last thing I want to touch on is the fact that we call ourselves a platform. And I think this is a really important point. We do this because we're designed to integrate with your existing systems and software from the start. This makes things easier on you and your team, and gives customers the modern experience they expect in 2024. And what that is a single builder-first product that allows them to own, operate, and manage their new construction home. So as a takeaway, if you remember anything about Foundation, just remember that we are here to create happier buyers, more efficient teams, and make your owners an ongoing asset. Thank you.
Great, thank you. That was awesome.
Next up for show and tell? Perfect. Okay, so some of the stats I was showing before pointed directly to the fact that there is this issue, definitely in the post-move-in stage. The purchase to ownership journey we've heard is fragmented for sure, but also expectations are changing all the time, and we're seeing in the data reduced satisfaction in the post-move-in stage. A lot of chat this week about the millennial cohort and some of the sessions. It's the biggest cohort coming through the pipeline right now. 80% of them are more apt to purchase from a builder who uses digital self-service tools. It's important stuff. They've grown up with this stuff, right? This is what we have to serve it up as. But even beyond the millennial cohort, so many people don't know how to take care of these beautiful homes we're providing as an industry to them. 38% don't know how to maintain, do common maintenance stuff on their home, myself included probably to some degree, and I was a builder before I joined Avid. So it's pretty bad when you don't even know how to maintain the product you used to build. 36% then expressed dissatisfaction, and often reflected that back towards their builder, right? So knowing that, we designed a product called HomeKeep, and you've probably heard about it. It's been out for a couple of years, but it was really to try and address some of that stuff I talked about before, that idea of timeliness, the idea of making it easy, that idea of creating certainty, especially in that post-move-in stage. So with HomeKeep, it really digitizes the home information. Instead of giving what I used to do was the drawer full of manuals or the USB, real sexy USB thumb drive full of stuff that nobody ever looked at again, it digitizes that stuff. It catalogs their home for them. It's got all the owner's manuals, product information in one spot. They can load up color sheets. They can load up their, all of that stuff. Key contacts for the builder as well. But then it manages the home products as well. So with managed home products, we will actually register the products with the with the manufacturers. So if there's recall notices, they get that information. If they need to find a model or serial number, it's on their phone, so they can order parts or consumables for that. It really becomes a maintenance repository as well. So kind of like the Carfax idea. But the big part of it too is homeowner education. When I was VP for a builder, a lot of the calls we took in our warranty service departments weren't warrantable, right? It was stuff that's all, we were staffing up for stuff that's maintenance. So, I felt that pain really, intimately. And so with this, we actually do a customized maintenance plan for every home. If it doesn't have that feature, they don't get that task served up. That way they know what to maintain, and there's a resource library, there's videos loaded up into it so they can see how to change their furnace filter, how to change their dishwasher filter, all the stuff they should be doing instead of calling their builder to do it. And then a deep help and center, and now we have a new product which I'll touch on today as well, called Avid Warranty, which again takes some of this other warranty lift as well off of the builder. So we like to think of HomeKeep too as not just an app, not just somewhere to go on a computer. It's actually a bit more of a comprehensive experience. So it's co-branded with our clients. So it's co-branded with the builder. So you're top of mind, like Derek's product too, where you're kind of top of mind, long when it comes to referrals and recommendations down the road. It's mobile and web as well. So it's iOS and it's also Android. But it's also emails and newsletters and all this other content served up in a few different ways. You have to multi-channel communicate with people, it seems these days. In-app notifications, they get served up these tips and reminders as well in the product, and then we can text and SMS message them as well with notifications. And it links to this new product called Avid Warranty. And where this came from was the same idea of that post-move-in stage is so bumpy. It's again the sense of abandonment syndrome that happens with today's homeowners once they move in. It's a pretty intimate and intense relationship through the journey, and then they get the keys, and it's like, oh, my builder's seeing other people. Really? That's not cool. So, and they want this connectivity. They want to be able to say, I don't know if this is warrantable or not, but I can go on to Avid Warranty now, and I can go through this processing with AI power. I can triage this, or the builder gets a triage for them. So, okay, it's a caulking seam that's cracking apart. Is that warrantable? Is that homeowner maintenance? We can coach them through. If it's a maintenance issue, it'll take them right to resource guides, videos, how to fix that stuff. So again, it takes some of the lift off the, I'm putting my builder hat on so often because it's like, it takes the lift off the warranty team. It's great for the homeowner experience, but I love that it takes a big lift off the warranty teams as well. So the triage, the AI-driven triage is just like, it's super cool to take that lift off, but it also engages these homeowners after closing. They have this real-time access to their builder through this technology. Big piece is, again, education. A lot of our background in Avid is education to the industry, and so educating these homeowners on how to take care of this beautiful product and giving them those resources, guiding them through it as well. And at the end of the day, just providing that extra level of support for them. So suggestion, the next steps, get out of the show and tell bit here. Biggest opportunity, I'm on my soapbox, biggest opportunity lies after closing right now. There's some tragedies there, and we got to fix that stuff. And it's just going to get worse with the tsunami of warranty work coming through the pipeline right now. Double down on communication tools, homeowner education tools. We're just showing a few samples up here today. I just think so many builders aren't leveraging the critical technology that's out there. We did a quick down and dirty study and found that only 41% of the top 200 home builders are actually using a designated warranty management system. Like, they're putting a lot of money in sexy upfront stuff. It's crazy. Yeah, they're using web forms and things like that. But we put so much attention on the front end of the process. Of course, to drive sales, it makes sense. But referring advocates come from the back end of the process. They come. Long-term loyalty comes at the end. So at the end of the day, why does this post-move-in stage? Why am I so passionate about it? It is the last thing a customer is going to remember about their builder. No matter what we did in sales, option selection, all that other stuff, this is the last thing that they're going to remember about their builder, is how they were treated and how they felt communicated with and connected to that builder. And that's going to influence whether they give referrals, whether they post a good or bad online review. It's going to impact a builder's online reputation, because if we make a bad impression, that goes online now. So at the end of the day, a bad impression today becomes part of a builder's online reputation tomorrow. So I'll jump off my soapbox now.
Wow.
Thanks, Tim. I like that it's Avid spelled backwards, Diva.
Diva Homes,
That's
right?
amazing. I just noticed that.
Yeah, that was
Diva.
It's Diva. All of our stuff is branded as like Diva Homes for when it's the builder example.
That is so cute and clever.
It's Avid backwards. Yeah.
We've gotten so many little quippy one-liners and words here today. Diva. Okay, I got it.
Okay, hi y'all. Again, I'm Haley. I'm with NoviHome. And like everybody else, I'm going to do a quick show and tell for you guys. NoviHome builds custom branded apps for home builders and developers. We are a full platform. Everything is available across devices. However, we are kind of app first. I have a quick little video here that will kind of walk you through what that looks like, and I'll talk through it here at the same time. So we take your buyers from walk-in through warranty. So if you look here, Chesapeake, on the front end, we are displaying the builder's content. We are pulling that directly from their XML file that their website is already sending to other third-party syndicates. So it's showing here just some of their available homes that we're reading from that feed. When a buyer goes under contract, then sales or whoever it is internally can communicate directly with that buyer via chat. It can be anybody on your team. It can be your whole team. All of that is pushing back to your existing systems. Photos as well. So photos, like I mentioned earlier, can be taken natively in the app, and they are immediately transmitted to buyers, meaning it's one click for your site superintendents. And then there's a number of other features, from documents to warranty. We have a number of builders who have gone almost completely paperless with documents. So their CMs get all their final walkthrough agreements, or any sort of construction walkthrough signed through the app. And as soon as those documents are completed, they're branded and put into that buyer's document tab, where then corporate can go grab it from the office as well. Huge improvement for people who are still using paper, which is a lot of freaking people, y'all. We've been talking about French Brothers, and I was on the phone with Kevin Jewell 2 days ago, and I know he's an avid ratings user as well. And so French Brothers is doing something really interesting with our platform. After closing, they're assigning everybody on their customer care team to those buyers on their team. And so if somebody has an issue, they're engaging with French Brothers via the chat, and about 4 to 8 people get pinged at the same time, which has really improved French Brothers' response rate because of the amount of people who have access to that buyer. And he mentioned to me, I think you said the average right now is like 74 or 72. They're at about an 88 for warranty. They've been able to really make a meaningful change there using our platform. I mentioned it is available, everything that we do, on desktop and mobile device. Where we see people using desktop are people who work in the office, closing coordinators, leadership teams. And then on the mobile device, I want to say about 80% of our salespeople end up using Novi from their phones, just because it's easier. A lot of salespeople, they may work in multiple communities, they work out of their car a lot. And so being able to push data into their CRMs via a mobile app is a game changer in the amount that CRM is getting used, and the amount that your buyers are getting communicated with.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that story about Kevin, because I forgot to include, well, I didn't have time to include that, but it is really nice. So I think I showed this on the very first day. ECI is actually, it's a much bigger company than just building and construction. We operate across 4 verticals. We're actually global in scale, but these are our products within the building and construction industry. My group specifically focuses on residential home construction, and so we cover sort of these customers and products, if you will. And we're just going to, for this presentation, focus on the products that are specific to home builders today, which are these products here: Mark Systems, LotView, InSearch, Lasso, and Bolt. And they really are, all of our products are connected, and we do impact both the home builder and the home buyer process. And I would argue, again, that good customer experience, you have to have accurate data for your customers, which this allows you to have. You have to have a knowledgeable team, which again, with the different platforms and things you have here, you can do that. And then also be able to communicate throughout your whole organization. This, just to go through some of our products, I believe many of you are familiar with Mark Systems, but it is an end-to-end ERP system that goes all the way from sales at the beginning through the whole entire purchasing, production, and all of that to the very end. And we do have a warranty program and a portal for buyers. There's been a lot of development in that area, so there's some companies that do that a little bit better than what we do, but we do value that as well. We talked about Lasso actually 2 days ago, and the importance of Lasso, and really it's great to be integrated with NoviHome and Lasso, and to be able to understand those different communications that you need to have with your buyers and things. LotView has the interactive site maps, but it also has that operational view for builders as well, so that their teams can stay informed. And sometimes you can always review reports and things and data, but when you can see it actually on a map and it's a different color because of a different stage it's in, it really makes a difference to both the buyers and the users, your team's experience when they're doing their job. And one of our front end, we talked about this yesterday, the Digital Design Center and actually the Sales Center products, where we have the interactive floor plans as well, configurators, all sorts of things like that, keeping the buyers engaged at the front end, giving them a really good experience there. And then this is sort of our system. So you'll see a lot of these logos on here. Our entire system is connected, but again, as we talked about the first day, we want to make sure that you're giving your prospects even a really good experience, capturing all those leads, being able to communicate with them throughout the entire process and in one environment. And so that's shows you a little bit about our connectivity. So
awesome. Thank you. You guys are so amazing on your time management, but you got it all in. You got it
Within a minute, yeah.
So I tricked you. So now we have time for questions. Yay! Awesome. So I have a few questions that I want to ask, but I want to open it up to our audience. If you all have any questions for our panels, make it really hard for them. Give them some tough questions. Yeah.
Heckle us.
Yes.
Honestly, so Kevin and I didn't.
Did everybody get the question?
He
Oh,
asked,
okay.
yeah. So he asked how French Brothers knows which person associated with that buyer is responsible for responding. I think they can see if anybody else has responded. I will ask Kevin how they kind of decide.
On their Teams chat. That's all the communication that they have on their Teams chat. So they'll communicate that way. So when a buyer pings, and I believe that on their Teams chat, someone will respond that they're on top of that issue, and they'll follow up and stuff. So they use Teams religiously to communicate across their whole organization.
Great.
Thanks, Monica,
Good.
for the assist.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Make them work. Make them work. All right, well, I have some questions. So anyway, I will do this. So I'm going to start with you, Derek. When you're engaging with the builders and discussing customer experience, who within the builder organization is the thought leader or typically the person that you're interfacing with?
Yeah, I'll give you a cliche answer, then I'll give you like who we interface with. So I think the best of practice, the best of breed that we see, like the folks that are really concerned about customer experience, it's really a part of their culture, right? It's across the entire company. Everyone owns it. It's kind of like that Disney philosophy in some of those types of companies. Personally, when we're interacting with folks, a lot of it starts at the marketing level because they tend to be on the hunt for a lot of new things, and then generally it's the sales and then warranty all come into the conversation as we're talking and explaining what Foundation does for their business.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree with you. I think if it's not pervasive in the culture, just having one person be the champion is a little tough. I mean, you got to have somebody who leads it, but everybody has to kind of buy in when you think about the process.
We've actually had land folks be like, hey, you got to speak to my VP of sales or whatever because and it's a great builder in Tucson. Hey, they saw what we were doing, they recognized it, and they said, hey, I'm going to own this and get you to the right person to talk to. They were in that meeting and then kind of like pass it along. But I think those great companies are always looking for a better customer experience across the board of their employees.
Right. And you are starting to see that title pop up.
I was just going to say
right?
that. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of new. It's almost like when the internet was born, way back before half of you were born. The internet was born, there was now like a VP of internet, right? Like, it's a big deal. And now we're seeing experience in people's titles.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a couple builders that we work with that are really focused on that, and they put a person in charge of that, and they're really leveraging Lasso and Novi and everything to carry the customer through because sales is sort of responsible for it, and then the construction team is kind of responsible for it, but nobody truly manages the whole thing. And so with the customer experience manager, it really gives the customer a much better experience overall.
Right. Yeah, and you're seeing customer sat scores, true measurements of customer sat pop up in people's bonus metrics and how they're measured. So even if they don't naturally care, they kind of, get drug into this. So it's interesting. Okay, so I have a question for you, Tim, and we didn't talk about this, so you may slap me.
You went off script, right?
Yeah, I know, I'm going total rogue, So because you're Avid and you see customer reviews and how builders are doing with reviews over time, and you also have this tool and some builders use other tools, is there a correlation in better review scores in use of these kinds of tools? Like, have you been able to correlate that?
No, actually, I wish we could, and our sales team wish we could as well, because it's just so much of the stuff is brand new.
Right.
So it's within like HomeKeep's less than 2 years old. So to see if it's driving referrals or recommendations or online reviews upwards is still too soon to tell.
Right.
And I would agree with Derek too. Most of it is still at the sales functions and marketing functions, but we need something to differentiate with. I can't imagine it's not going to. It's going to be some cool data that comes out in the next year or so on this stuff, because I can't imagine it won't, because every consumer wants digitized information, every consumer wants communication tools. And our industry, it's not to pick on our industry, because I love it and I've been in it my whole life. Our industry's got we can only go upwards.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I really appreciated all of your stats and your data and showing a report card for us as an industry that we're slipping. And it may not be that we're getting worse, it's just customers are really getting more demanding. It's like Veruca that we talked about the other day in Willy Wonka. It's like she wants it and she wants it now, right? It has to happen. So
that's a complicated product. And back to sort of base hit stuff that we should be doing too is like stuff we've been preaching forever, like expectation setting is more critical than ever too. Just even our talk tracks have to be so on now because customers will pick it apart if we're not there. And the talk track's just not verbal, it's also our digitized talk tracks. We were talking about that the other day.
Right.
You know, our what was the word you used? Digital and physical? Phygital?
Oh, phygital.
Our phygital has to all align and match. We all got to be, playing the same, from the same script, the same playbook all the way through. Whether it's our talk track and our digital products on our websites and our people, those high touch points we have with expert people. It's all got to align to there. Those consumers will pick it apart.
Yeah. Good. So maybe at the next conference.
Yes, I want
we'll
data. No, I definitely want.
It will have circled around enough.
Say, okay, this is working.
To see it. Yeah. It's kind of intuitive.
It totally is. And like I say, we have nowhere to go but up.
Well, don't say that.
True. Actually, I shouldn't. It's like talking about a no-hitter. I should never do that.
All right. Well, cool. All right. So, Haley, love Carson. I want to meet Carson. Although, don't we all have a Carson? And usually, like, they're the best salesperson. And it's like, how do they skirt through life like that? Like, they're just
Carson's
amazing.
Young, too. He's younger than me.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right. So, question for you as you all are looking in your development product roadmap. What are some of the new features that you think we might start to see in these products?
Yeah, so we are currently developing a ton of really fun new features that I did not feature on any of my presentations yet because we are finalizing. It's badass, y'all. And so a lot more automation with ERPs, I think, is to come. Customized build cycles for builders on the back end, kind of static updates in addition to those personalized updates. NoviHome specifically has really focused on the personal updates to buyers because they love it, right? Like they don't want to just know that their home has reached foundation. They want to see a picture of the foundation on the lot that they picked. But there is something to be said. You know, I talked a lot about ease of use of some of the automation so that some of the things actually get done. The best laid buyer experience or mapped out customer journey. These are buzzwords I've been hearing for like 2 years now. A mapped out customer journey. It doesn't really matter if you're not actually completing the tasks, if your team isn't completing the tasks. And I wanted to say one thing, I didn't want to interrupt before, but I've seen not only the title of like customer experience leader, that position is really hard because you're trying to affect change in multiple departments. But I have seen more and more builders that have dedicated, whatever they call it, homebuyer concierge, essentially, and their entire job is to make sure that that customer feels like a freaking rock star during the whole build process. Like they are the most important person to that builder. And I think we're gonna see, I hope we see a whole lot more of that in the next couple years.
Yeah.
I've certainly seen more.
And it is interesting as you watch different industries adopt CX, right? We kind of come at it, in different clock speeds. My biggest advice there or warning there is sometimes we hire this person and go, well, that's their problem. So I'm not going to worry about the customer experience. Good luck, that person can only be as successful as the systems you have in place and if everybody is supporting them, because you can't do good CX, here we are again, good sex. We can't do good sex if we don't have the support, we don't have the answers. And if we're doing a horrible job and, I have to have that person or the people behind the scenes supporting. But I think you're right. I think that's a great way, at least that's that champion, right? And back to your question of like, well, who's gonna respond to that thing? It's probably could be that person, but everybody else is kind of aware, right? And they can get the support they need. So
it's interesting too. I was thinking I was talking about like a big builder, a large builder, and they're just fighting for their CX budget. And
Yes.
they're across the country and they do thousands of homes and they're down to 2 people in their CX world. And they have a CXO, a customer experience officer. And I was chatting with him and he's like, the trouble is, he said, takes a sea change for our industry because, even the best intentioned people in the post move-in stage, I have to respond back. This is decisions made by management, by leadership, by ownership, by shareholders if it's a public. And so it starts so far upstream to get that culture to build.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
You can only be as focused, as good as you are internally.
Yes.
Like you're raw and exposed. You may think you're hiding your problems from your customers, but they're right out there. So anyway, okay, so Monica, question for you. What's your biggest piece of advice for builders? Like, how do they get out of their own way, or what's your?
Yeah, well, I think it's very important to really focus on the communication between the different divisions and things like that, and really coordinate the way you're being responsive to customers. And I did want to go back to the customer experience because my title is actually customer success, which is not quite customer experience. It's a little different because we're in the software world, so we want to make sure our customers are successful for the life of the time that they're using the product, whereas you guys are builders, but you build and then this person lives in your community for years. And you have to remember that they're not just you build the house and then they're done and you don't see them again. They're in your community. They're talking to the new people coming into the community and networking with their friends and things. And so you do want to make sure they have a really good experience and that it follows through. And in my job, the way that we have it set up is I focus a lot on working with our customers to make sure they're successful, but I also work internally to make sure we're successful in meeting our customer expectations. And so part of that CX job is also to work across the division. So sales is coordinating with construction. Construction is sharing that information back to sales and back to accounting, production, purchasing, what they're seeing in the field. And if things aren't working the way they should, my job isn't to fix them, but to highlight them to make sure that the rest of the teams understand that it needs to be fixed because we're not meeting those customer expectations. And that is one of the first things when I do internal presentations. Customer success is everybody's job. My other thing that I always say is clean data is everybody's job as well, because you deal with data every single day. And if it's not, you can't just have somebody come in and clean it up one time because it's going to get polluted again. Especially you think of pricing of options and those kinds of things with the digital design centers. If you're not updating your data, it's just going to set everybody off and it's going to create a bad experience for your customers.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, good. Very good. Good advice. And you're living it.
I'm living it, yeah. So if you have questions about establishing that position, feel free to come and ask me about it.
You're the champion.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. Well, that takes us to the wrap up of our time. But I do want to thank our panelists. This was really great. Really good information. So hopefully it's inspiring you all to have good sex. So anyway, we'll see ya.